Okay, so one other thing I want to show you is I want to show you how to do a slightly different fold. I call it the Z fold. Hopefully you're able to see. This is why it's called the Z fold, is because the edges look like a Z if you were to cut off the ears. But it's just slightly different. The only real difference is you don't unfold fold 3. So I'm going to go ahead here and make a square piece of paper. There's my fold 1 already. I'm going to cut off this side. Okay, and then I'm going to take these 2 small points and put them together to get my fold number 2. So far nothing has changed. Now I'm just going to flip this over just because normally the box folding template that we've been using, you flip it over, put pattern sign down. So I'm just trying to keep it the same. So we're going to go ahead and make a crease here at the point to help us get a nice point for fold 3. And now this is where the change comes in. Instead of unfolding this, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take and fold number 4 basically backwards from the way we have been doing it. Still need to make sure I get a good point on here. But basically I'm just lining up this outer edge and folding. And you can see in eyeballing it, I missed a little bit. That's okay. I can just bring this fold over to this fold. And then I can try to line up these sides one more time again. Some people find this easier just because when you're adjusting, you're just going back and forth on making the lines meet up with each other. I'm just going to adjust it one more time here. Maybe one more time. Once you start adjusting, sometimes you get a little bit too perfectionist. And just keep going back and forth. But there we go. Okay, so the biggest reason why I don't teach this Plan Z to beginners quite often is just basically because, hopefully you're seeing that. So this is with it cut off, with those ears cut off, and this is with the ears on. So the biggest reason I don't teach this to beginners is because with the thinner paper that I'm encouraging you to use, I actually prefer to have the ends tucked in instead of loose like this. It helps prevent it from sliding around. It helps keep the whole thing together. And also the reason why I don't teach this to beginners is because the cut line for the ears is now hidden. So it can be a little more challenging. You know, you'll want to put your design up here and you don't realize that you're losing it because of the cutoff line there. So that's the difference. I'm going to go ahead. I have a pattern here that I've already taken out the center part of the pattern just to make it more simple. Now if you want to, you can always enlarge this pattern. You could block out the bottom part of the triangle so that you're not using up all of your ink in your printer. But you can go ahead, and if you were to block off the triangle, you just have to make sure, you know, slide it down until it was equal. I don't put it all the way to the point anyway because I like to have just that little bit of space to just kind of recognize all those layers of paper that we're going through. So we're going to go ahead here, take these paper clips. And this one's actually slightly larger just because when I took off the combined pattern, it had a little bit more space here, and I just wanted to make it all the way up to the 8.5 inch size. So this one is slightly bigger, not a lot bigger. Could always make it, you know, even up to the full 18-inch amount. So you would just have to make sure that your triangle was 9 inches tall if you were going to make it for the full 18-inch width of the freezer paper. And if you did that, you're going to want to make sure that you're checking that the hearts are how you want them. Sometimes something looks really good in a smaller size, but then as you increase the size, the proportions just don't feel quite right anymore. Even though it's technically the same, it's only, you know, that much of a percentage bigger. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this one out. And normally I would actually have done the center, so I'm actually going to pause there, do the center first. Got distracted thinking about all the other things I want to tell you. Okay, and set that aside to experiment with later. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut in from this side. Okay, and we'll open this one up again. It should be almost exactly the same as the other one, just slightly bigger. I do miss my fingernails sometimes when I'm working on a project because I recognize that I used them as one of my tools. I don't normally have my fingernails long, but during the winter when I'm not gardening, they do tend to grow a little longer, and they do make a good tool for snowflake making. So there's this one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and experiment with some of these little leftover pieces to see what we get. Since I'm not going to use that pattern, I'm going to go ahead and take it off. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of sketching on here. We're going to just try for a nice heart shape. The center is a nice flower shape too, so we'll open this up and see how we like the heart, but I think we also have a nice flower shape there with the center. So this is just a different kind of a wreath that we can use with our fabric. This one's just a little simpler than all of the other cutouts, so it should be easier to applique around. And then we're also going to go ahead and open this one up. This one would be a really cute, just little floral shape. There we go. We can also use that with our fabric as well. So let's see. I'm trying to think how to make this one to make it different. So we're going to go ahead, I think this time. We'll just go ahead and do a heart like this. Do another one that connects over. See how that turns out different. That's going to give us a different shape in the center and also at the top. This one is a little less forgiving in the shape just because they do have to touch each other. It has to be one cohesive unit to stay a snowflake or to stay a wreath, but of course it doesn't have to be a snowflake. I'm going to cut this just a little bit more this way. If it does come apart while you're experimenting, you can always just use them separately. with your fabric. There we go. I'm just going to check and see what I think about these heart shapes. I do actually like those. They turned out pretty good. Nice, cute shapes. This one might be a little harder to applique around just because they're smaller and a lot of curves. You could always change the center of this one or add to the center of this one. Maybe for both of these, really, you could add a circle or some circles or French knots in the center after we get done here.